You are listening to the 90 Days Later podcast with Anna Charles, episode 182. Welcome to the 90 Days Later podcast, where we talk about what really happens when you take a break from drinking. And it turns out to be the best thing you've ever done. I'm Anna, coach to high achievers who are done waking up with regret and ready to feel in control around alcohol. If you've ever wondered what your life could look like with less wine and more you're in the right place. Hi everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. 182 episodes. People often ask me, wow, Anna, how do you think up what to say, what to talk about? And the beautiful thing is there is always so much to say, and this is one of my favorite topics to talk about. And I really like showing up for you all every week and just having a conversation with you, and just to come into your ear and remind you that you are not broken. This is good, right? We're just changing an element of ourselves, and we have the power to do that. I'm here for you, right? For all the men and women who've built careers, who've raised families, conquered all the stress, and yet somehow still feel, right, like drinking is the one area where they can't seem to master. That was me for so long, is no longer. And if that's you are in the right place. All right, so today's episode is for the person, I'm calling you out here. You might feel a little called out, a little triggered by this. For the person who says, look, I should be able to figure this out on my own. I should be able to figure this drinking thing out on my own. Now, you might not say it out loud, but you are likely thinking it, and you may even feel that is very true. And there is a lot of evidence you might have why that is so. You're smart, clearly. You've got degrees, you've got businesses, you run teams, you run a household. There are people who rely on you. You've read all the books, you listen to all the podcasts, you've handled bigger problems than not drinking 2 glasses of white wine every night. So why is this one still here? Right? I hear you. I feel you. I empathize. We're going to unpack that today. And I want to start by talking about the false logic. It is false logic behind that I should be able to, right? I should be able to figure this out. That voice in your head that's telling you that you should already know how to do this. That voice, it's lying, right? Because the skills you use to conquer and master, and really, you really are wonderful in your day-to-day life. Those skills that make you excellent at what you do, they won't help you to drink less. In fact, they often make it harder. And why is that? It is because, quite simply, you cannot outsmart temptation. You can't win at a negotiating table when you're facing off against yourself, right? This is when we kind of have the pull me, push me. I want to drink, I don't want to drink. You cannot schedule or sprint your way out of patterns that live in your nervous system. And often I see that the better you are at working hard, at showing up, at battling through problems, at being the strong one, right, and just digging deep and just getting it done, the more likely you are to feel that you've earned that glass at the end of the day, right? So this is not a discipline problem. Let me be clear on that. This is not about willpower. You all heard me talk about that before. But this really isn't about willpower or ability. This is not a personal flaw. Even if you might tell me everyone in your world drinks, or your family drink, this is not some personal flaw. And it is definitely not something you are supposed to just know how to handle. Kind of just like that, right? That you wake up one day and I'm fed up of drinking too much white wine or red wine or whatever. I'm going to do something about it, and that I should magically know how to do that. No, it's not about any of those things. This is about desire. It is about emotion. It is about habit. And often it's about relief, right? The relief we get from this loop that we're in. And here's the kicker. As said by one of my clients, I was so good at solving problems, but this didn't behave like a problem, right? This drinking thing, she said, it was slippery. It was emotional. And I hated that. I couldn't just fix it, right? Because we often look at this very logically. We're very good. We're very intelligent. We've got very structured brains. And another client told me, after doing the work, right? So going from the before thinking, I'm so good at solving problems. I have completely transformed who I am. And then she said specifically at lunch, right? I used to always order the wine when she was out. Now I don't. And it's easy. In fact, I don't even think about it anymore. Now listen, that didn't happen because she tried harder. It happened because she learned a new way, and she got the support to do it, to learn that way, and to then be willing to go out and test it and feel supported by me as she went out there and tested it. She wasn't on her own. Now I want you to consider, how do you learn new things? This modern world is throwing more and more tech at us, more approaches. If you work in a large corporate, there are bound to be more processes and more things, new clients, the whole thing. Right? There's always stuff to learn. And in your job, I want you to think about this. So let's take a job, for instance. If you were learning something new, whatever that work might be, maybe you're learning more about negotiating supplier contracts or leadership. Maybe you're a new leader, or you've become a vice president of a new division, or maybe you're needing to deal and learn with conflict resolution. Maybe you've got some conflict in your team. What would you do if you thought, right, I've got new responsibilities, managing these contracts, I need to know how to negotiate? You'd get some training, right? You'd go on a course. You'd hire a coach. You'd talk to somebody who'd been through where you are to where you want to be, right? You wouldn't just try and create that map on your own. You wouldn't think that I should just know how to do this. You'd have no shame about getting help. You'd have no drama about it. It's just how professionals operate. So tell me, why is it that when it comes to drinking less, which is something deeply personal, emotional, and complex, we tell ourselves we should be able to figure it out all alone? And we should already know how to do it. So I don't even know why I'm looking for help, because I should be able to do this. Listen, this is not some DIY project, right? This is not putting up some shelves that we maybe can have a little guess at. This is a life skill you are learning. You will learn with me. Life skill that no one taught you. And you don't have to stay Googling in the dark, Googling at 3 a.m., right? Techniques. Because all that stuff, right? If it's just sort of trying to download a PDF here, do this here, nibbling at the edges, those are just really delaying tactics. You need a teacher. You need a teacher like you would have a teacher, as I just said, in your professional life. The skills you need to drink less, and to do so consistently, peacefully, and confidently, they were not taught in school. They aren't in the quit lit aisle. And they don't come baked into being successful at life. You can be successful at the rest of your life and not in this area. What you need is someone who knows the terrain, who can walk beside you and say, here's what's really going on. I hear that all the time on my calls. We talk and people are talking, my clients are talking, and I can hear their thoughts. They come out as words, but I can hear what they're thinking through the words they use. And they say, I had no idea that was what was going on. So I'm someone who sees what you can't see yet. I'm someone who reminds you who you're becoming. One of my clients told me, when I don't drink on nights that I normally would, right, when she would previously have done, I wake up feeling really proud of myself. I feel empowered and strong. I've got the reins of my life now. Now listen to that. That is not, I think it's some fluke. It's not just that she magically knew what to do. She learned, and now she has the reins. She is steering. It's like you're steering the horses on a sleigh. right? She's stirring her life. She went on to say, I realize now this is an identity change, right? I'm someone who just doesn't drink every evening. That's a transformation for me, a big one, right? We talk about the word transformation a lot, but I want you to think what that means. This is changing our identity around alcohol. It's changing how we see ourselves, and not just around alcohol. This will bleed positively into many areas of your life, because this is not about restriction. It's about freedom. And yes, freedom can be taught, but it needs to be by someone who understands you. Now listen, people in real life, in your real life, won't. Not your husband, not your wife, not your friends, not unless they've experienced exactly what you're going through. Yes, they're well-meaning, sure, but without knowledge how to lead you forward step by step, they really cannot help, just because they do not understand, right? As I said, this is deeply emotional. This is deeply personal. Now, this matters because if you've been piecing together solutions from blog posts and with the best of intentions, if you keep repeating the cycle and calling it, next time will be different, let me say this with love. That if we carry on doing the same thing, taking the same approach, we're going to get the same result. You need a different result. You need a different approach. And you are not broken. It's not that you can't do this on your own. It's just that you're under-resourced. You've been trying to use logic to fix emotion. Our emotions do not need to be fixed. You've been trying to, quote unquote, figure it out on your own, when what you need is to learn something new in a new way. And many people say to me, my gosh, Anna, it's not until you said it in that way that it really made sense to me. Finally, everything clicked. And that is the beauty of coaching, right? And getting help, getting support, understanding that somebody else can help you figure this out is not weakness, it's wisdom. So if you're thinking, look, I know all that, I really know all that, if you're kind of resisting, but I really should be able to fix this on my own, I want you to flip it. Maybe the smartest thing you can do today is to get support, right? If your do-it-yourself approach hasn't been working, cobbling together bits and pieces of knowledge, or what someone else says, or this person says, or what your friend did hasn't been working. And by the way, you're losing time, right? Time is passing and this problem is staying. Then let's flip it and get you support. Book a free discovery call with me today. Because let's stop pretending this is some solo project, and let's stop measuring your worth by whether or not you can crack this alone. I hear that a lot. I just need to be able to figure this out, and then I feel so good about myself. Because really the real strength, it's in asking for a teacher when you need one. It's in learning a new skill, just like you've done in every other area of your life. You do not have to keep living this loop. That is a choice. You do not have to keep making promises to yourself and breaking them from behind closed doors, drinking behind your own back. You can build a version of you who feels proud, who feels consistent, and yes, who feels free. So say yes to yourself. Talk with me. The link to book time on my calendar is in the show notes. I'd love to meet you. Or you can go to 90dayslater.co and you'll see there a book a call button. Now, if this episode has stirred something, if you feel seen or challenged or finally understood, that is a hint at maybe this is what you need to take action. And maybe also to share what you've learned today. There are so many other people out there silently shouldering this exact same story. Let's change that. Okay, that's it for this week. In your corner, I am, and I will see you next week. If this episode hit home and you're ready to explore what life could look like with alcohol in the backseat, let's talk. I work with people one-on-one who are ready to create the relationship with alcohol that works for them, so they feel powerful in their choices and at peace with their habits. Go to 90dayslater.co and click on book a call, or grab one of the free guides in the show notes to this episode. And if this podcast is helping you A rating or review goes a long way to help others find this work too.